day.
And joining me now is Dr. Ashish Jha, Dean at Brown University's School of Public Health. Appreciate your joining us, Dr. Jha, here on India Today. This, in the last few days, this huge concern across the world over a new COVID strain and its potential impact on the pandemic. How are you seeing it? Is this being exaggerated in your view, from your vantage position in America? How do you see it?
Yeah, so it is an important issue. I don't think it's something we can ignore completely. It does look like this strain is more contagious, but it does not look like it's any more deadly. It does not look like it's something that will escape the vaccine. So I think we need to keep it in perspective, not overreact, but absolutely pay attention to this because it is an important change in the pandemic.
The concern, of course, is that on the one hand, you've got this exuberance in the United States, the vaccine rollout has begun, and then you get hit in the UK by this new strain of coronavirus. You seem to suggest that it will have no impact at all, in your view, on the vaccine rollout in particular. Are we saying that someone who's injected with Pfizer or Moderna, which are already being rolled out, will in a way be immune to this new strain, or we don't know?
We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure, and we have to study it. So I don't want to get ahead of what we know for sure. But that said, I think all of the data so far suggests that the current vaccines, the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines, should still be very effective against this new variant. And, you know, variations and variants do come up in middle pandemics, particularly when there are very large outbreaks happening. We have to monitor this very closely, but we have to make sure we don't overreact. This does not fundamentally change the dynamics of the pandemic, but it does represent a new challenge that we have to manage.
But is your sense at the moment that this is principally localized to one pocket of England, which has of course gone in for a major lockdown, that whether you're in the United States with your vaccine rollout or in India where the number of cases are coming down every day, we should not be worried and we should not panic at this stage? Because, you know, speaking to health officials off the record, they seem to be uncertain about what the future holds, even in India at the moment.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if it's localized just to the UK. Another way of saying it is I think this variant probably is in many parts of the world. There's now some new data coming in that they've found cases of it in Hong Kong. They've seen it in Denmark. I would not be surprised if it's in the United States. I would not be surprised if it makes its way to India. That's what happens in a global pandemic. I agree that, again, the key is not to panic. It's not going to somehow cause an explosion of new cases. But if it does take hold in India, you will see an acceleration, and you're going to have to manage that. We're going to have to manage that in India. So I'm not panicking. I'm not overly worried, but I do think this is something that requires close monitoring because we should expect it to become global.
You know, Dr. Jha, we are entering the last week of the year. Are you more optimistic as we enter the end of 2020 that we are the pandemic? I just look at the number of cases in the United States every day, more than 2 lakhs being added at times. Are we still a long way away from really being on top of this pandemic?
Well, certainly in the United States, things are quite a bit of a disaster, mostly because our government, our federal government under President Trump, has just given up on the pandemic. And so we are really struggling. But as I look to the end of 2020 and look forward to 2021, I see a much, much brighter year ahead. I do think that over the next month or two, even countries like the United States are going to begin to really get the pandemic under control. India has done a very good job, certainly in the last few months, of bringing the number of cases under control. And vaccine rollout will begin, I think, around the world, certainly by midpoint of 2021, if not earlier. And that, I think, will begin to make a really big difference in beginning to end this pandemic. It won't all be over by 2021, but life will be much, much better end of next year than it is right now.
Let's leave it there, Dr. Jha. That's a positive note on which to end this conversation. Appreciate your joining us as always with your insights there from America. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
But how is the World Health Organization seeing this new COVID strain? Well,